and of course the you are section C. Samrida is here. Why is it unnecessary? Anyway, this is home task 1. Very simple task, very easy task. It is individual task, remember. So we have to submit individually. It's individual task. All of you need to submit in the doc file. Right, so what is it? You just need to find out, all of you has a mobile phone, right? So what you need to do, you need to find out the specification of your mobile phone number. Just go to the Google, search it, and try to find out the specification. Very detailed specification of your mobile phone, technical specification. That is one thing. That is actually the second task. Describe, remember this is describe. So describe the model number, the release year, the specification of your mobile phone. That is the second task. Actually, first task and the most important task is the first one. You have to describe the processor of your mobile phone. Each of your mobile phones, so that it's Android phone, Samsung, whatever it is, Oppo or Vivo, all of you needs to find out that exact name of your processor, whatever mobile phone you're using. What is the exact name of the processor? What are the types of the processor? What are the features, characteristics of the processor? What is the architecture? When this processor was first launched? Okay, so it's very simple. You just need to Google it. So, for example, my mobile phone is Huawei, whatever. So I just need to go there, the mobile specification of Huawei Y19. Then they will show me everything. So from that specification, you will know that what is the name of your processor in your mobile phone. So look at the processor name and then separately search the features of that specific processor. All right. So it can be Exxon processor, it can be Apple A Bionic chip processor,
Snapdragon.
It can be Snapdragon. Yeah, it can be anything, right? So just do a little bit of research on it. Very interesting task because you should know which processor you are actually using every day. So we are studying assembly language and the processor and everything. So it is better. We should know our devices very well. All right. So please try to do a little bit of research about your mobile device. Remember, it's not your PC, not your laptop, not your tablet. It is your mobile phone device, right? Only the mobile phone. The specification of your mobile phone, every details of the specification of your mobile phone. And this is the second task. First task is the description of your mobile phone processor. Okay, quite interesting, quite easy. You just need at least, just one day, I think, not more than 1 or 2 days. That's why the last submission date is the next week, Thursday. I know you have other exams, so your exam will finish in this week, before 10th of July. So you can start after 10th of July, whenever you finish all the exams. Still, you just need 1 or 2 days maximum. Okay. Hopefully, you will enjoy this one. Then you will be amazed how powerful your mobile phone processor is. Some of you has octa-core processor. For example, my desktop one is 6-core, I guess. I have 6-core. My laptop one has 8-core. This is 6-core. Some of your mobile phone, you can see or find out that your mobile phone processor can have 8-core, octa-core. That doesn't mean that your processor is much more faster than my desktop one, but still your processor can do more because your processor have a little, not that much powerful like the desktop one. Okay, so hopefully you will enjoy it. Okay, fine. Any questions so far related to the form task? What you need to do, I suggest you, whenever you submit, it is better that you go to, how can I show you? Because anyway, write it in your Word file and just upload it like you had uploaded first time answer script. By the way, one more thing, 3 of you, as you can see, oh, not this one. As you can see here, it is only 41. You're supposed to have 44 in your section. 3 of you still have not joined in the Google Classroom. And 3 of you, those 3 of you actually, emailed me yesterday. For that reason, obviously, so otherwise it will be a wrong judgment to the others who already submitted. Let me tell you, whoever, there are so many students who have submitted timely on the Google Classroom. Some of you submitted late. Some of you 1 minute, some of you 50 minutes, some of you 30 minutes late. And some of you submitted to my email. One of you I consider Lamia Akhtar Nim because she said she has a problem.
Yes, sir.
But Abir Hussain and who else? And Jamil Joel, 2 of you still I couldn't find you into the Google Classroom. Are you here? Both of you? Any one of you?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was.
Sir, actually, sir, classroom code is not working. We
I know.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jamil is somewhat the reason that after 1 month you're still not in the Google Classroom.
Sir, I was trying again and again. Then I call you, sir. Mobile phone.
When did you call me?
Sir,
So you tried
I cannot join.
June. Today is 6th of July. It's 1 month. I have posted the Google code before, 1 or 2 days before the class has been started. Whenever you cannot do it, why don't you ask me during the class? Why don't you email me? Just not do anything. How can I believe you? Huh? So that is the one of the reason that you of course should have penalty. Your submission and the students who sub classroom timely, both of you should not get the similar kind of marks. That will be injustice. That will be injustice to that student who do it properly, timely. Obviously, whoever submitted late, according to the late submission and according to the different submission, except Lamia. Miss Lamia, that is the last time, all right? That is the last time. I will open it. Let me open it now.
Thank you.
I will open it.
So much, sir.
And it's open your section C. I think you can see that. Let me open it in front of you. Turn it on. It is on. This is your new code. Write it down and take a picture. Mr. Abir Nissan, Lami, take a note of this code. Take a picture. After 1 or 2 days, I will stop it again. The reason I stop it, there are some unwanted people actually wants to join, sometimes to join. That's why I don't want any unwanted into this official classroom. This is not my social media that you can join. Anyone can join. This is an official Google Classroom. Fine, so please take a picture or take a note. This is your new Google Classroom code. I will stop maybe after 1 or 2 days. Make sure you join it, 3 of you, Jamil Islam, Lamia Mim, and Abid San. Okay. So I have already, of course, some of I actually taking notes yesterday about your activity. It is, most of you are quite good. I am happy with that, with most of you. Some of you, some profiles, some of you has actually noted up every exam, because you know this is the only exam where I wish to give you 100 marks for the first exam, which will not be much into it when you exam. I told you, do not do any. You would know, don't need to do this course again. But if you're trying to do something else, if your behavior attitude is not correct or appropriate according to the habitual rule, and if you do something unfairness or dishonesty, I can guarantee you cannot pass this course. Whoever it is, whatever it is. So please, simple goal to pass this course is be honest, be sincere, right? And just follow the simple habitual rules. That's it. Most of you, 98% of you, actually don't like this course or whatever. You're just doing it for the grade. It's fine, your choice, your life, no problem. But you have to follow the rules. Right? But I'm always trying that whatever the course you are doing, any course, if you're doing psychology, if you're doing economics, or any math, physics, or this course, you should do the course in a way that so that you can use the knowledge in your future career or in your future life or future study or wherever it is. Nothing is valueless. Okay, so I request you that please do this course in a way that you can use this knowledge in your future life, either for the study, for the career, for the personal life, or wherever it is. Okay, do it this way, then you can enjoy it. If you just thinking that, okay, I just do it for the marks, then you cannot enjoy it. The problem is, I think you know that, for example, our class is 1, right? Our class is 1 hour. It is, you are getting bored after 30 minutes, 40 minutes, which is quite normal. Quite normal. I don't blame you. Think about it. Whenever you watch whatever movie you like, you actually don't get bored, right? It's 3 hours, 2 hours movie. But you are getting bored whenever you listen to my lecture. Not my lecture, okay, maybe my lecture, okay, only my lecture. You love other lectures. So what is the reason? What is the reason that you love? You don't get bored, or you don't feel bad whenever you do the class, but we don't feel bored, or you love or enjoy the moment whenever you watch any movie or watch any television or the cricket or football match. The reason is why you love them, why you enjoy them, because you love to do it. Whenever you watch cricket or football or a movie or listen to music, you enjoy it because you love it. You don't like my lecture because you don't love it. That is the only reason. And that's why always I suggest to my students that please love whatever you are doing. Or in the other way, do whatever you love. Otherwise, everything will be valueless. It will be wasting of your time. For example, in my case, I love to study about computer networking. I love to study about telecommunication, wireless communication, all kinds of this IoT, 5G, 6G. I love to do it. I don't feel any tiredness or boredness. I can study every day, hours after hours, because I love it. I don't have any problem. That is my passion. That is my hobby. So similar, if you try to enjoy it or try to love it, then actually you can enjoy it. Otherwise, it is actually the same old story that you just come to the class for attendance, say yes sir, memorize something, write it in the exam, and then forget everything. Totally barrenness. All of my effort, actually every classes, every semester, I try to give everything so that at least whatever we are teaching or discussing or learning, so that you can enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, it cannot, it will not go to your permanent memory. Best example is whenever you watch a movie, and if you really enjoy it, that memory is actually your permanent memory. After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, still you can describe the movie from start to the end. Because whenever you watch the movie, it was so exciting, you love it, and everything is in your permanent memory. You don't need to memorize, right? You don't need to revise the movie to memorize it, right? You don't need to memorize any movie, right? But still you can remember because of this reason, because you love it. Same as the lectures. I know it's a very boring course. I know. It's a very boring course. It's a difficult course. My lecture is not good. It is online course. I know it. But still, at least 30%, 40%, 50%. Let's say I'm showing you 10 slides today, right? Today we are going to show 10 slides. If you just try to learn it or try to love it or try to enjoy it, at least 3 slides, 4 slides or 4 topics, then it is fine. No problem. I'm not asking that 100% of you or 100% of the lecture you should. So do in this way, not only my lecture, every lecture, whenever you do anything, whenever you go for the job. For example, my case, I told you that my first job was in a software engineer. I tried when I was a student, like you, like 4th year students. So I started the job, the software engineering. I really didn't like to do the coding. The problem of the coding is my problem, maybe all of the programmers' problem as well, that until you finish the problem, until you solve the problem, it is actually in your head all the times, everywhere you go, whatever I do, even my dream as well. Until I solve the programming problem, it was in my brain. I actually didn't like this kind of job. I left the job. Then I come to this networking part. Now it's fine, no problem. I love it. Doesn't matter, it's inside my head. Doesn't matter whatever it is, but I love it. That's why I have no problem. That's why I did my PhD as well in the same field, like studying 12 hours, 13 hours every day, very difficult job, very difficult environment. So no problem with that. I accept everything because I love to do it. I love studying about networking, about telecommunication, about wireless communication. So the point is, if you find your topic or track which you love to do it, then that will be the best thing for you. All right, so I suggest you also try to find your love. Okay, of course, love is not like your love to a girl or boy. It's a different story. That's a different story. It's your personal life. I'm talking about your professional life. So in your professional life, you also find the love. Either it's a programming, maybe it's a networking, maybe it's a studying anything, maybe it's anything. So try to find it, enjoy it, it will be much better. All right, so let's try to continue, because if you don't know the option, you actually cannot find your love as well. So you need to know, you need to explore all the options. This is one of the options, programming, especially assembly language. So let's see, it is very interesting for you or not. All right. So from this class, from this chapter number 4, we are going to start the assembly language. Previously, chapter 1, 2, 3, these are all about our system, our processor, and the introductory thing. From today, we are going to write the assembly language code. Okay, so let's start. It is from chapter number 4. Most of the time from this chapter, we are going to refer to the book. I think it is better to refer to the book. So let me open the book as well. So we are going to do chapter number 4. By the way, how was the first time exam question? Difficult? Difficult? Impossible?
The question was unexpected.
As expected.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your expectation is very good, Mr. Mahidur Rahman.
Well, sir, I was expecting maybe something like maybe it will be easy or tough. I don't know, sir, but that the question was unexpected.
Okay. Good expectation. How about rest, others? How about the question? Do you think it's easy or moderate or difficult?
Yes, sir. Easy, sir.
Easy, right?
Moderate, sir.
Moderate.
Yes, sir. Easy, sir.
Okay, whenever you saw the question, let's say, for example, question number 4, I was asking to identify the differences between two memory architecture, which we did not discuss in the class. In the class, we have discussed different types of, separately, we have discussed 2 different types of memory. Question was, what are the differences regarding the features and characteristics? So whatever we have discussed in the class and the way we are asking the question, slightly different. Not exactly the same way we have discussed in the class, but if you understand the topic during the class, it should not be a problem. So whenever you write the answer, I hope you write it in a correct way, right? Question number 4, just for example. Right? I think it is the same question in other section in the morning as well. The question number 4, I think it is similar. Although 3 sets of the questions are completely different, but this question, unfortunately, fortunately for the morning section, it is the same question. But I think this is the difficult question. This is the difficult question, right? Question number 4.
Yes, sir. That's why I couldn't.
You didn't write it.
Yes, sir.
20 marks, you didn't write it.
Yes, sir, because I didn't understand the question number 4.
At least you should write something instead of don't write it. Leave the question. It is always better that do not leave the question completely. At least, if you just write the 2 of the definition, then I can give you some marks. That is actually a trick to get a good mark.
So time is so short.
Sir, that time I was something tense about my email account.
Why?
Sir, because
This is not the first time, right? This is not the okay. Lamia, your one is a different case, but for others, it is not the first time that you are actually submitting the goal last 1.5 years. You're doing this, right? Not have a problem after 1.5 years. That is not acceptable at all. If it is in the last year, then it's fine. But after 1.5 years, after doing 3 or 4 courses for almost 4 semesters, if you still have the problem, it is really not acceptable. Anyway, please try to solve the problem. Otherwise, unnecessary, you will have some negative marking, which I actually don't want to give you. But the problem is it will be injustice. Think about it. You have submitted in a wrong way in late, and then some of your friends submitted correctly and timely. So both of you should not get the similar preference, right? To get the marks. It will be injustice to the students who submitted timely and correctly. So please, if you have any problem, try to solve it. Okay, let's continue.
Sir, before starting, I want to ask something to everyone.
Yeah.
Which PDF scanner do you guys use for making the PDFs?
Cam scanner.
Cam scanner.
Okay. But yesterday there was a problem there, like it was just showing the ads and it got stuck. So that's why I got 1 minute late. So is there any good scanner other than Cam scanner?
Yes, always if sorry.
Okay.
Skip ads. That's-
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you.
I can suggest you another one, which is Microsoft Lens. I am using Microsoft Lens, which is very nice. I don't know why you are using Cam Scanner. Microsoft Lens is quite good. It is the software from Microsoft, and there is no ad, and there is no problem with this kind of thing. I'm using like last 1.5 years. It is Microsoft Lens. Lens. From Microsoft itself. So you can use that one as well, Microsoft Lens. Whenever I try to scan any of my written documents or paper documents, I use Microsoft Lens. And there is no problem with the problem is the Neriya-san said, any other problem. So you can explore that option as well. Okay, fine. So
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in Google Classroom, sir, when we submit the script in, sir, the last time was, sir, 2:25. And, sir, when I submit the script in 2:25, then, sir, it, sir, seems, sir, late, sir.
Yes, sir, 1 minute late.
Same problem, sir. Same problem, sir. 1 minute late.
If you submit, because I told you that before 25. Don't worry, if it is 25, it is fine. The system they have used is say that you should submit before 25. I can see all the activities from the, let me show you, from the history that whenever exact time. So don't worry, if it is 25, it's fine. Let me show you. First time. Let's say some of you are late. Let's say check this one. If I can see the history, look, it is 2:54. 30 minutes late. So you should, or Mr. Abdul Salam Shubha will get minus 30. Like 2:27. So I think it's okay, 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe I consider, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, 1 or 2 doesn't matter. 27. 51. Minus 20. 26 marks will have Mr. Akash. Minus 26 means you will get marks out of 74, not 100, because of this late. 240, 25 minutes, 15 minutes, sorry, 15 minutes late. This kind of issue I'll actually give the negative marking. 1 minute doesn't matter, like Mr. Bikram Kumar Das. It's not a late actually, it's 2:25. It's fine. Because the system is like if you are submitting, I mean not before 2:25, because 2:25 is the deadline. If you are submitting before 2:25, no problem. But unofficially 2:25 is fine, 2:25, 26, not a problem. Okay? Happy?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I have problem like this one. 2:51. I have problem this one, 2:54. This is the problem. Okay. Any other question? No. Okay. So let us start. As we know that it is from the first time we are going to study or see about our programming language, especially assembly language. So what is an assembly language? Very simply, I think you know that whenever you write any code in C programming as well, each of the line, we call them statement, right? Statement, C statements. The same as here, we also called assembly language statements. Okay, so in assembly language, we have 3 different types of statements. 3 different type of statements whenever you write an assembly language code. First type, it is called executable instruction. That means if you write this type of code or this type of instruction, it will be executed by the microprocessor, and the assembler who actually translate from assembly language to the machine language. The assembler will generate the machine language for these types of instruction. Executable instruction, or you can just say instruction. To write this executable instruction, there are some format. To write an executable instruction, there are some operational code or operation code. In short, it is called opcode. So operation code, in short, opcode. That's why they said it opcode. You will listen so many times about this opcode during this course, during microprocessor as well. All right. By the way, from the next year, there will be no assembly language separate course. Assembly language and the microprocessor will be combined together. Okay, it's good for you maybe. So this is the opcode or operation code. So this is one type of statement. Second type of statement, we call it assembler directives. Like this one, assembler directives. These types of code is actually not an executable code. These are not executable code. And assembler will not convert these types of assembly language into machine language, because this assembler directives gives you some idea, some description about some of the statements. That means this is the description of the statements. It gives some idea, some description of the executable instruction. That's why it is not directly executable code. There is another name of this code, is called pseudocode, pseudo ops or pseudo operational code. In short, pseudo ops. Okay, and assembler directives are non-executable and do not generate any assembly and machine language instruction. Second type is non-executable instruction. The name is assembler directives or pseudo ops, and this kind of pseudo ops or assembler directives, they are not converted to the machine language instruction. Okay, we have third one, which is called macros. This is the third type of statements. We call it macros. So what is macros? Macros is like a function in the C programming. That means it's a combination, or it's a collection, or it's a group of statements. So if you want to run those group of statements, you just call the name of the macros, and the macro will load all those code or statements and then run them. So it's a combination of several other assembly language code or statements. These are called macros. Fine, very similar to the function in the C or the object-oriented programming. Fine. So these are the three types of statement we can write in assembly language. So first one is the executable, second one is the non-executable, and third one, this one is called macros. In the book, they have written in very, very nicely. This one is the instruction or executable instruction. This one is the non-executable, assembler directives or pseudo ops, and the third one is called macros. Okay, they have given very nice example. Now let us see that how there are general way we can write the assembly language code. This is the general format. Okay, one thing, the third bracket you can see, you don't need to write the third bracket. Just they have written in the format way, all right? So these third bracket things, these are optional. Optional means if you don't write them, it will not give you an error message. It will not give you an error message because these are all optional. For example, comments. Do you remember whenever you write the code for the assembly language, you write semicolon and then write something right on the right side of the assembly language? So those are comments. So those are comments, and it is not necessary to write them. It is actually for the help for the programmer, so to understand whatever the meaning of the code. So this is optional. Some of the code have some operands. Operands means if you want to add two numbers, if you want to do some operation. Some of the code, the operands are not always mandatory as well, and there are some level as well. We'll show you an example. So whenever you write any levels, sometimes it is not always mandatory to write it. Okay, so these are optional, but we can write in this way. That means we can write the level first, then the mnemonic. These are actually our opcode, our operands, and the comments. That's how in the general format. Let us see some of the examples. This is the example. So we are doing is a level, repeat. We are going to see what is the level in the future. One of the opcode, which is INC. We know that INC in the assembly language means increasing. This is one variable, which is the operands. And this is our comments. So this one, and this one, they are actually sometimes, not in this case, some other cases, it's optional. But this is the way we can write the assembly language code. Always the levels followed by a colon. Always the levels, whenever you write the levels. Okay. This is an example. We have another example here. Look here, we don't have any here. Let us show you another example. For example, this one, another example. Another example. These are all examples. We have written the assembly language code in your question number 5, so it should not be a problem for you that how to write assembly language code. Right. So this is, I'm sorry, what did I do? Oh, nothing. So the most important part is the data allocation. Not every language, programming language, this is the must thing, and this is the first thing, the data allocation. Whenever you try to write a code, you must have some data allocation, right? You have to declare something, especially the variable name. So you have to declare something, you have to store something, you have to allocate some of the memory location. So these all of things is called data allocation. All right, so in assembly language, this data allocation is done by define directives or define assembler directives. In this way, or in this, the help of these define directives or define assembler directives, we are to allocate some of the memory location for the different types of variables. Okay, we are declare the variables by it, because without variables you cannot write the code. So this is the very first part of any language. So this is for our assembly language. All right, so these are the general format. This is the general format. Again, same thing, brackets for type bracket. These are all optional. Optional. Define directives. What define directives we are going to see? Initial value. First initial value is mandatory, but second initial value not mandatory. For the others, they are not mandatory, but the first one initial value, that is mandatory. Let us see. Okay, first of all, we said that variable name. Variable name is not a problem. You can write any variable name except the keyword, very similar to the C programming language. What is define directives? Okay, define directives is very similar to our C programming language. But I think you remember about in the C, we declare variables in this way, right? Let me show you in this way, right? This is the C programming. Simple, character, integer, float, double. Different types of variable actually allocates the different types of different length of memory location into the memory, right? So whenever you do the character is 1 byte, integer it's 4 byte, float like this in the C program or any high level language. In this assembly language, you also have the similar types of thing. All right, so this is the list. This is called define directives. So we have 5 basic types of define directives. We have 5 basic types of define directives. Define directive means whenever you declare any variables, we have types of the variables. We have these 5 different types of the variable. depending on your need. So let us see the 5 types. DB, that doesn't mean database, it means in assembly language, define 1 byte. DW, of course, D means define, so D doesn't matter. The problem is B, W, D, Q, and the T, that means the second character. D means define. So B means byte, word means 2 bytes. I think you know that in computer science, word means 2 byte, that means 16 bit. And then D means double word, that means of course 4 byte. Q means quad word. Quad doesn't mean quad.
Sir, 8.
No.
Sir, 4, sir, 4. Quad means 4. Right,
Uno, yes. Uno, dos, tres, quad. Right? I think it's Portuguese. Uno, dos, tres, quad. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. So quad means 4. Octa means 8. Okay, so quad means 4. 4 words. I think we know that word means 2 byte. So quad word means 4 word. 4 word means 8 byte. Right? Fine? No need to memorize. No need to memorize. It's quite simple. And T means 10. So it defines 10 bytes. Just remember these 5 types, please. Okay? B means byte. W means word. D means double word. Q means quad word. And T means 10 bytes. Simple. If you know that B means byte and it is 1 byte, rest of the things are just multiplication of this. Word means always 2 byte. Double word means 2 word. 2 word means 4 bytes. 2 multiplied by 2. Quad word means 4 word. 4 word means 1 word is 2 byte. 4 word is 4 multiplied by 2, 8 bytes. And 10 T means 10 byte. 10 bytes means 10 bytes. Simple. Fine. So these are the types of variable types you can declare in defined directives. Okay, there are some length, very similar to our C programming or other high-level programming language. Whenever DB, the value, let's say you want to store a variable, you want to have a variable, you want to store some value of that variable. If that value is more than 255, you cannot store that into DB type. Excuse me, sorry. You cannot store it into the DB type variable, right? Because the maximum you can store is 255. Because DB have only 1 byte of space. And in 1 byte of space, you can have maximum 255. The number, the value of the number can be not more than 255 and not less than minus 128. Okay, do you understand? If you have a value of 300, let's say you declare one variable, which value might be 300. You cannot define that variable like as DB because DB can store the value maximum 255. So you need to define it as DW because the value stored in DW is maximum 65,000, which is quite normal, very similar to the C language, and not less than minus 32,000. Fine? And the similar as the DD and DQ and also the DT. So these are the range. It is better we know this range. Okay, we know it. We should know it. It's very simple. If you already have done the C or the Java or the high-level language, is quite similar. We need to keep in mind this defined tips, the range, because well, let's say in the next, after that, we are going to do some arithmetic operation, like going to do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So you have to know that whatever result we are going to store in a memory location, is it enough? Is it large enough to store the result? So if you don't know the maximum capacity, you cannot store it, right? So let's say, for example, you want to store a larger amount of data or a larger amount of number into a small place. What will happen? Rest of the part will be vanished. You cannot store it. So you will have the wrong result. Fine? So that's why we need to know these ranges. Fine? Let us see some examples. How we can define. So we can define in this way. If you remember, this is the variable name. That is the defined directives. And that is the initial value. Okay? This is the initial value. One interesting thing in this, by the way, our last time is 210, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. We can define or we can initialize any value or any variable in so many different ways. For example, look at this one. We have declared one sorted variable db type, that means we can have maximum 1 byte, and there is one character. We know that we can store one character into 1 byte. So we can do the same thing by this way. Sorted db 79h. By the way, h means it is an hexadecimal number. That's why they have written h. So that means if you just write this way, it will also save the value of y, because in hexadecimal, the value of y, the small y, is actually 7 and 9. So it's the same. Or if you write it the other way, which is the binary way, so if you just have this one, same result. Because in binary, the small y is this value of in binary. All right, so we can write in that way. Fine. One more thing. Whenever you have more than one space of byte, how the processor is actually store the data into the memory space, because we have memory, have a lot of space. So let us see that how the processor, whenever you declare any variable, rest of the task is the processor that where actually in which specific memory location the processor is going to save your declared variable. Right? Let us see. In assembly language, it's very simple way. It's quite interesting. That let's say, for example, this is the way you have declare one variable. The name of the variable is value. It is DW type. That means it's defined word. That means 2 bytes. And this is the value in the decimal number, 25,159. That is the decimal number. So whenever you write in this way, what actually the processor assembler actually does is it will convert this number into the equivalent hexadecimal number, which is this 6247. Right? So that is the hexadecimal number, and then it will store it. Remember, this is DW, that means 2 byte, byte number 1 and byte number 2. There are 2 space, byte number 1 and byte number 2 in the memory block. So in byte number 1, the processor will store the least significant bit first. For example, in the first byte in the memory location, they will store 4 and 7 first. In the second memory spot or the place, they will store 6 and 2, like this. So we declare this one 25,159. The processor convert it into the hexadecimal number, and then the least significant bits will come to the first byte or store into the first byte, because DW means 2 byte. First byte, it is stored 47. Second byte, it is storing 62. That is the way they have done it. It is called little endian byte ordering. And the Pentium processor uses this little endian byte ordering pattern. This is the pattern, or this is the way the Pentium processor store the value into the memory. Let us see, we almost finished. Let us see another example. Let us see, you have declared this variable, or you have this variable. This is the variable name, type of the variable, again, DW means 2 byte, and negative number. So if you convert this negative number into the hexadecimal number, you have this number, B9, B8D, B9. Very similarly, because we have 2 bytes, so in first byte position, it will store the least significant bit first, which is B9, and then in the next byte or the second byte, we are going to store the most significant bit, which is the 8D. If you look at the bigger option, look at the third statement. It's a very big number. It is DD. DD means double word, right? So double word means we have 4 byte. So 4 byte we are going to store. This is a binary, sorry, this is a decimal number. If you convert it into the hexadecimal number, this is the hexadecimal number. And we have 4 bytes position. So obviously in the first byte, first X, that's why it's right X. X means first position. So in the first position, they have put 4F. Second byte, 86. Third byte, 5A. And the last byte, 20, most significant bit. That's how they store serially. That is the good thing, that assembler actually put the value in the serial order. so that we can find it very easily and faster way. Fine? That is the end of our class today. Do you understand? Until this we have done. How to initialize, what is the range, how we can store it into the memory. Fine? Tomorrow we are going to discuss about some of the other definition. We are going to see the array, how we are going to define an array and the multiple definition. The array is this one, it's called times. Times, where is it? Here, times. This is the array, or whenever you have it to store it into the array or table, that is the multiple initialization definition. I also can do multiple definition, like so many different ways. We are going to do this one tomorrow. Most important thing and most common thing is the symbol table, that whenever you declare in this way, how the processor store the data one by one by using the offset value. Okay, and then we're going to discuss about the addressing mode. We have 4 different types of addressing mode. We're going to discuss that one, all right? So thank you very much for today. Let me give you the attendance. We have only 29 students, which is very sad. Is it not because for the exam, I think? Is it because for the exam? I mean, other exam? Or they think that, okay, yesterday was exam, today is off?
To be honest, sir, I'm not sure.
I guess that is the reason, that yesterday we have done a lot of tasks. So today is day off. I wish I also have a day off like you. I don't have any day off, not a single hour.
Maybe, sir, this is for other exams.
Whole class, scheduled class. I don't take exam on the scheduled, outside the scheduled time.
No, sir. Many students have 2-3 exam a day, 2 days. So they are
preparing themselves.
For
Okay. I understand. It's fine. Okay. So you are section C. Yeah, it is difficult. If you do one day you have 2 or 3 exams, quite difficult. Quite difficult for me as well. Anyway, so please respond. CSC 197 section C. Shakil Ahmed, Moinur Rahman.
Yes, sir.
Aidul Islam, Moinul Islam, Email Shocker.
Yes, sir.
Shahrir Haq,
Yes, sir.
Azimul Haq Rani, Mukit Hassan, Said Mukitul Islam, Shubujur Rahman,
Yes, sir.
Gon Kumar Das,
Present, sir.
Amit Hassan.
Present, sir.
Shubujur Rahman is absent, right?
No, sir, I am present, sir.
Okay. Sorry. Rubel Babu, Rizwan Ahmed,
present, sir.
Jannati Naim,
Yes, sir.
Jas Tasnim,
Yes, sir.
Shahid Ahmed,
Yes, sir.
Sadia Akhtar, Afia Siddiqa,
Yes, sir.
Rahul Debnath,
Sir, Sadia Akhtar.
Yes, sir.